Hello and welcome to this tarot reading. I do have the radio on in the background, so hopefully it will kind of go away once the commercials are done. I don't care what they say. I think the commercials are louder than everything else. I was having that moment when I was driving around doing errands today. Anyway. The dog and I enjoyed some of the nice weather, so. Collective, you may also have a pet. You may be empathic. You may relate well to animals. You could be somebody who does well around horses. I'm not sure. For somebody, this may be relevant, like the OTB. Like they don't really do dog racing anymore, but they still do, horse racing and harness racing and all that stuff. For somebody that, you know what's so weird? That was on TV the other night. That movie. See, there's no coincidences, right? Exactly. Welcome to the reading. I haven't even picked a card yet. Anyway, yikes. El Diablo and Three of Swords. Yeah, talk about heartbreak. This was a heartbreak moment in the movie where he, obviously places a lot of money on this horse, and it was some kind of fixed race or something. So he doesn't get his money, and he was too confident. Anyway, so that may be significant to somebody. If it's legal or illegal where you live, I mean, right, where there's a will, there's a way. Like, we have NFL players that have been convicted of, dog fighting, and the older days, it used to be more like the chicken fighting, right, the cock fighting. There's movies about that too, so. Also, beware this weekend of anyone trying to get into conflicts with you, especially if you are of a masculine energy, because this full moon and the eclipse and, you know what I mean, then there's St. Patty's Day, so it's going to be like extra people on top of people that normally would never, ever even dream of going out around a full moon at all, right? Let alone a beautiful spring. Full moon when we've had some bitter cold and snow keeping us inside. So yeah, beware of people trying to provoke you into kind of snapping off. Just think of them as like a little green bean, just like, you know what I mean? Like, you thought you could upset my mood today. No. I was watching some other reader and she was like, yeah, that song, like, she's in her mood, right? The Ice Spice one, right? You know what I mean? And back in the day, it was, Cherry. So don't you get fresh with me, okay? It is very simple. You mind your business, you're going to be fine, right? Just don't be messing. Nobody gets, right? I am not in control of everything. Especially the haters want to come to these channels and be like, oh, you're not in control. No, yeah. Well, I'm in control of my own, conscience and behavior, right, to the best of my ability. And I don't go out of my way to be acting crazy and stupid towards people, okay? So keep it in check, right? Keep it in check. Just because you're seeing it one way does not mean the rest of your audience, whoever it is, feels the same way, right? And if you notice, there's some people that seem to require an audience, right? Just keep that in mind, using your own discernment. So Driving the snakes out of Ireland may also be significant for somebody. The Five of Cups. Yeah, somebody is feeling a little sore that you're not seeing it their way. I did a cover of Frank Sinatra on my Ophelia's Band channel. I did the That's Life, right? Sinatra also famously sang My Way, right? Yeah, this could be somebody just feeling butthurt because, their way didn't go their way. Right? That's life. Welcome to life, right? I'm drinking that strawberry lemonade. It's like the Simply Lemonade, the Simply Orange, the Simply Lemonade brand, but it's their brand, but with a little bit of alcohol added. It's like the same as a beer. You know what I mean? Like a 5% beer. It's nothing crazy strong. It's not like these home brews from these Wisconsin and other Midwestern folks start cooking up. You know what I'm saying? They get all bored. Seriously, I don't know what they're going to do without the Joanne fabrics. Where are all these women going to get all these fabrics for all these quilts and stuff and all these things these kids need? And sometimes it is a slow boat from China. And you see there was that collision? What was on that boat? Was that goods from Timu? I don't know. Yeah. Guess what? You ain't getting it. I'm just saying. It's kind of like when you get involved with the wrong folks, like some of us have. Live and learn, right? Brow Gal says, live and learn, my Brow Gal. Okay, she says, live and learn. I need to make her a t-shirt for that, seriously. Yeah. Wheel of Fortune. You have ideas, you have blessings that are coming to you. Yeah, it's like, they're these little gems, right? These little diamonds that are just gonna be falling into your little baby bird mouth. You just gotta open your mouth and verbalize what you've been thinking about, right? That's it. Okay. It's springtime. Now's the time. You hear all these birds chirping. So it's like it's time now to. Aries has been coming through all them readings. I should tag Aries in this as well. I'm sure they have something to do with it. But Pisces as well, which we are moving out of Pisces season here. Pisces is allowing those dreams to sometimes come to fruition, bubble up to that surface, right? They were down at the deep of the ocean, and then it's like you swim and you see a little bit of light, and it's like, what are we doing? And maybe it's something you've never done before. Okay. I went to college and or university for the other folks, but I went to a 4-year college, and then I was in the working world for about 10 years, and then I went back to college to get my master's in business degree. So it was a very interesting time, especially after being in the working world. And I ended up networking, ironically, with a lot of the same people that worked at the same company that I did. But since we were such a diverse company, it would have been very random for our paths to cross otherwise. So it was a nice way to get a holistic viewpoint of the corporation, right? Whereas, say somebody who's like, I'm going to study accounting, therefore I'm going to be in accounting forever, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, you're in accounting, okay, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be in the CPA tax division of the corporation. You might be within a business unit, you might be out at a dealership or a local, facing business where you have to keep books with, as a wholesaler or supplier or something of that nature. Okay, there's a lot of different kinds of experiences that can be had with those types of higher education. right? I was just watching that movie Moonstruck. I assume she went to school to learn some of those accounting skills. Some people, grow up in businesses and learn bookkeeping, that could probably go and take some kind of certification test and pass it, right? I don't know what all that is. So that might be a message for somebody as well. Yeah, I personally, I did take a tax accounting class, as an optional career or second job. And then at the time, I ended up getting hired on full time somewhere else. So, um, but I saved money on my own taxes for many, many years doing them myself and actually understood the paperwork behind it and everything. So, um, you know, investing in yourself still, even if you don't necessarily go down that path. And if you go and watch the very last live that I did, that's part of this, the path less chosen, or is it, the Led Zeppelin, right? There's still time to change the road you're on. Okay. When you're like, you know what, this one just wasn't really working that well. Maybe I should go by what I've been figuring out all along. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's see what else we have for the collective here. Scorpio. This is so wild. I just reposted also a Halloween reading, which is, kind of Scorpio. This is also the death card, but since things have been lying dormant, right? And now it's like that dirt is now springing that new life, right? It starts with the moss, and we've had some spring rains, and you know what I mean? It's just a natural life cycle, right? Sometimes that's hard for people to accept, and that's okay, right? But like Ferris Bueller says, you wait too long, blink, you might miss it, right? So, right? Missy Elliott, right? Get your freak on, So, for somebody, this scorpionic energy with the full moon and everything, it's like I'm really feeling that somebody is really opening up their heart chakra to opportunities, okay? Especially that movie Moonstruck, when there's the line in there and he was like, I was dead inside, and they were like, me too, and then they start kissing passionately, and it's kind of like that. It's like all of a sudden, in another 2 weeks or whatever, that dormant cloth is going to be, busting out. So, if you're Sasquatching, maybe, clean it up, right? But, you know what I'm saying? Don't be going out there scaring folks and stuff. Oh my God, this one guy I dated once, he told me about this girlfriend he had, or some girl anyway, that came over and they were in the hot tub together, and he was like, something was dragging across my leg. I was like, yeah. He's like, no, I think it was like her, winter fro, I guess, was mopping on his leg. Anyway, that just seems a little extreme, right? So don't be surprised if, right? Like I wore like a skirt out today doing errands, and there was happened to be a lady to compliment, but some people, you know what I mean? Once people start seeing skin, it's like, oh my God, it's like, yes, we have bodies that sometimes aren't like 100% covered by clothing, right? Like, I did not take a, you know what I mean, like some vow to cover myself head to toe like they have to do in the Saudi Arabian peninsula, you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, King of Cups, Scorpio again, Cancer and Pisces. So this person could also have Scorpio in their chart. They could also have water in their chart and be a masculine energy, right? It's not just women that get moody, am I right? I mean, anyway, yeah, I feel like they're a little, I feel like they're a little perturbed by this situation because currently they are not with you. That's why the Five of Cups came out earlier. They are feeling some sort of way. Okay. But this rebirth energy collective, this is like, where are you going with it, right? You know, are they still trying to show up as Prince Charming, or are they just trying to show up with a princely attitude and start demanding things with their hammer here, right? Yeah, and it's like, you deserve this, like not having a rebound, you know what I mean? Like like maybe you don't think of it as like having a lot of pressure, right? But like once you meet somebody, it just feels like nice and fresh and young, that sort of thing. Okay. So I feel like you're very, again, then the Nine of Swords came still back out on the bottom. So I feel like collective, whoever this person is that, again, is feeling a little upset because they're away from you currently, you know, they're just gonna maybe have to deal with their feelings. They might be dealing with their feelings specifically around this full moon. As you can see, there is the full moon literally on the card, and this is the King of Cups, you know, Mr. Emotional, right? And you might be like, look, you know, I spent the winter season watching the, you know, the Moonstrucks and the Mirror Has Two Faces, right? You know, all these things. Now we're on to a different season, right? And some of you may be going on spring break. I mean, some people go on spring break as families. Like, it's not just like teens or college kids going wild. Like, I never went on spring break. Like, I had spring break in college, but I was too broke to like travel anywhere for spring break. After like when we graduated, we went to the coast. Um, all of us, well, most of us roommates over the last, you know, couple years or whatever, we took a trip over to the coast and rented, like, that was kind of my first like renting a condo experience, which I don't even know how we accomplished that thinking back, but we did have internet at the time, so, you know. Anyway, it was really nice because it was just like, then you just walked right across the street to the beach, you know, and of course we stopped at the grocery store when we got down there because we were broke and we had to, you know, we weren't like going out to some fancy dinner or anything. We drove there, you know, through rainstorm, right? And of course, my one roommate, she was always very good at flirting with guys. And it happened to be like, they were having like a motorcycle week thing there. And so, of course, she was like, you know, talking to these guys like immediately, right? And I'm just sitting there like, okay, I'll let you know he's talking to me. But we did get some rides from these one guys, and they were okay, you know, but they were on those like crotch rockets, you know, we weren't wearing helmets or anything, and they were complete strangers, but I would say they were fairly safe drivers, you know, they weren't trying to like be crazy, you know, murderous little assholes like some people are. Um, like some people want you to be like scared and on edge and all that crap. That's what I'm talking about, you guys being over the drama of the situations, you know, like at the end of the Enough movie with Jennifer Lopez, you know, or you know when the character just kind of walks away off into the sunset, and it's just like, or kind of like at the end of opposite at the end of Terminator 2, right? You know, when Linda Hamilton is sitting in the Jeep and the kid like takes her picture and is like, give me money, you know. Yeah, anyway, you know, she has other things to be worrying about. She has that next step. Yeah. So I would say, collective, if for some reason you're not feeling super springy yet, don't be letting it get you down, okay? And just realize sometimes it is the company we keep. You know, if you're kind of around a moody bastard all the time, it's like, oh my god, again. You know, it's like some people just don't want to be happy. And I have to say, that's kind of the negative of the water signs, you know, when we lean so much into it that we just want to wallow and, you know, and it's like, well, you know, go back and look at my last reading and maybe it'll snap you out of it when I talk about my one of my very hardworking grandfathers. Anyway, I had more than one. So, you know, when we can sit in the upright, we can also lead by example and tap into the things that we actually need to move us forward, and not some of the things that we thought we needed that really in reality have been weighing us down. Yeah. So, anyway, I guess this is just so wild, you guys. Again, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces as well, with the King of Cups. 21:12 on the clock. I'm going to call it. Please do like the video or consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, manifest wisely. Bye-bye.